Hey, everybody. Welcome to Buffalo Plus. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Mike Catalana, Jenna Cottrell. There's Dan Fates up at Bills Stadium, where, Dan, things are changing really by the minute, certainly by the day in what's going on. Titans with positive tests. You know, we've seen the Raiders maybe with more positive tests. What are you hearing up there in Orchard Park?
Well, it seems like Sean McDermott was answering every question as the company guy. You know, he was kind of dodging questions like a boxer in the ring of, we don't really know. He was asked, what if the Titans are forced to forfeit? And he said he wasn't going to get into that. As he talks about rescheduling the game to possibly Monday or Tuesday, he said Brandon Beane has been on those calls. That's not me. So he has pretty much dodged every question possible, which is the right thing to do. He says that they're still trying to gather information, what is going on in Tennessee, but he's trying to control what he can control moving forward, preparing like they're going to play on Sunday.
And Jenna, he doesn't really have any other options, does he?
No, I mean, I think especially if they do end up playing, which I think is pretty unlikely, but at the same point, knowing Sean McDermott, he likes to have everything as ready as possible. And you got to be prepared, of course, if you are going to play. But I guess I do find it so surprising considering the fact that once again, the facility was not able to be open today for the Titans. Look, we're now on Wednesday. That would mean, what would the possibility of them getting back as soon as possible would mean? I guess, Dan, for you, did practice seem to have a different kind of feel to it considering, or what was that like?
They were laid back. I don't know. And like I said, this team has been pretty laid back all season long. So I don't know if it was the sense of a bye week Wednesday or necessarily we're a 4-0 team and we know it. And that's kind of how we're handling it. It was a little bit, I don't know, they were having fun. And it's just a weird feeling here because what is going on here seems to be the less important thing, because no matter what happens here, their decisions are being made in Tennessee and in league offices. So it's a weird dynamic here at practice.
Yeah, and I guess if you're the Bills, you start to prepare for the Titans. It's not going to hurt you in terms of your preparation for the Chiefs. Now, if the league came out this afternoon and said, game is postponed, well, now that's a pretty big advantage to the Bills, Dan, and that's something we got to talk about. Let's say that happens tomorrow, and they say, game's postponed, we'll figure it out later. Well, now all of a sudden you've got the rest of this week, whatever days you give the team off, then you have the beginning of next week. Meanwhile, the Chiefs have another game on Sunday and they just played on Monday. So all of a sudden, that's a pretty big advantage for the Bills, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be a massive advantage because it would technically be a free bye week, as well as they're getting to play a team that they get extra looks at and extra rest who's coming off short rest. Look, this is a very weird dynamic, and that's why Sean McDermott was asked about the topic, because they can't really push this Titans game to Monday night or really even Tuesday like they've talked about doing with other games like they did with the Patriots and Chiefs, because the Bills play again on Thursday. So they're not going to make them play two games in 3-4 days. So it's a really weird dynamic. Right. And I think that's why the possibility of the Titans may have to forfeit this game. The Bills might get a free win, might get a free bye out of this, because the league is now investigating the potential that Titans players gathered to work out outside of the facility, which would just be mind-boggling to think the fact of you shut the facility down to stop the spread of COVID, players then get together and the spread continues. So that is where I absolutely agree that forfeiture of games, forfeiture of draft picks comes into play for that negligence of COVID protocols.
And what kind of message do you think that puts as well?
And that's what I think. Sean McDermott answered more questions today about a pandemic and COVID-19 than he ever thought he would ever have to answer, because he is now turned into a spokesperson. He is having to do everything else while also trying to coach a football game. This is a very strange, and McDermott even said, nobody's perfect. We haven't been perfect, but we're trying to do the best that they can. And it's a very strange dynamic going on here where you're trying to focus on what you can control, but around the league, is everybody else doing it?
Hey, Jenna, what if they do this? What if they say to the Bills, say the Titans can open, and they do push the game back to Monday, and then they take the Bills game off of Thursday night and push it to Sunday in Orchard Park? Because that's always a possibility too, even though it would seem like the Bills and the Chiefs have to adjust to the stupidity or the negligence of the Titans.
Yeah.
But the league is going to say, sorry, everybody's going to have to adjust. I mean, there's no fans, it doesn't appear, going into Orchard Park on Sundays or on Thursdays. So they could do that too.
I mean, I feel like realistically, you have to have everything on the table because I think you have to be smart about your options moving forward. Because, like we saw for the Patriots when they played against the Chiefs, now Stephon Gilmore's testing positive. I think they need to be really prudent about the decisions that they're making. And that could be one of them. I feel bad because, look, we know the Bills this year, they've had the schedule, they've had those primetime opportunities, something that we haven't seen in so long. But at the same point, in terms of this NFL season, the league wants to keep season going. And if that's what it's going to take, look, I'm sure the Bills players don't care when they play the Chiefs. They just want to play that team.
I'll say a hot take here. With everything going up, obviously we've got Raiders testing positive. The tests continue to come up positive in Tennessee. Now it's New England, where Stephon Gilmore was apparently one of the people in close contact with Cam Newton, so he tests positive. The league should pause for 2 weeks. I know that's a very hot take. Pause for 2 weeks, regroup, because things are spiraling out of control very quickly. The league is trying to install new protocols, new testing. I will say this, coaches had masks on way more today. They never really pulled it down. They're trying to do all those things. This season is spiraling out of control. It seems like 2 weeks pause. I know that won't happen, but a 2-week pause, push everything back 2 weeks and just reset seems like the smartest thing for me to do. It won't happen. It just seems smarter.
And I will say something. Sean McDermott says it every time we talk about this. He says, we haven't been perfect and we could very well have a positive test, because he knows it can happen, right? Mm-hmm. You sit there holier than thou and say, look at us, we're so good. They have been very smart, very good. But the most buttoned up organization in the world is the Patriots. And they had their star quarterback and their best player test positive so far. So it can happen even if you are doing the right thing. The other thing, Dan, I wanted to ask you about, we saw that picture of Mahomes and Gilmore after the game. Gilmore obviously was positive at the time, and everybody laughed about the whole, oh, no jersey swaps on the field. They're going to play the game. But I think the teams, and McDermott sort of hinted at, I think the teams, when the game ends, should walk off the field. I know it's all about sportsmanship and everything, but why add the element of close talkers like at Seinfeld? Why add that element after a game when we just don't know? We don't know how it's going back and forth.
Well, I also think it's odd. You know, they test every single day except on game days. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. These tests that are coming back on Monday and Tuesday, players are popping up positive. They were probably positive on Sunday. Like that is mind-boggling to me. And Mike, to your point where you say, like, why do they need to be talking? The league has made so many adjustments and made so many weird changes to make things more COVID safety. They only bring one guy out for the coin toss. Like, they're doing all of those things.
Right.
But then you can hug and prayer and like all of those things, which I know it's part of the pageantry of the NFL, but we're trying to get like McDermott said it best. The league is doing all these new protocols. And he was asked if he liked him. He goes, we're trying to do a season here. Like this isn't for one. We're trying to play games.
Yeah. I will say though, like initially thinking about it, I didn't think after the game, like they've been tackling each other for the full game, would it really be that much of a difference? But now as things develop, maybe that is something that the NFL going forward is like, you know what? I know it seems maybe ridiculous to some people, but just head into the locker room after.
Yeah, you're right. And let's face it, why add that element just to say, nice game, whatever it is? Zoom call like everybody else. Have a big old team Zoom call afterward. All I'll say is the NFL is in trouble at the moment. This is a crisis situation. And I will tell you two things. Hope is not a plan, and science is not just the class we all hated in high school, okay? These are things they got to pay attention to. We have seen it at the highest level in this country where you don't respect what's going on and you have a problem. And I think the teams in general, like the Bills specifically, have done a good job. But, man, all it takes is a little stupidity, and it can cause a problem for everybody.
Or to let your guard down for one day.
I don't think it's always stupidity. I think it's maybe ignorance.
Well, it's a little stupidity when the Titans are having off-site practices after they've been told that, and they know, and it's coming out every day. And we'll see what else comes out in terms of the Patriots. That game may be on hold right now. They're supposed to play the Broncos. Their facility's closed for a couple of days. So to Dan's point, when you look at it that way, Bills fans, try to relax. You're 4-0, but man, right now it's not looking great It doesn't mean it's panic yet, but we're on the verge of panic well, is it panic, Dan?
It's teetering.
The panic button is out.
The panic button is out.
Yes, they have it out. The little glass cover is off of it, but we haven't pressed it yet.
All right. Well, we will see what happens. Dan, get back. Jenna, we'll talk later. Thank you to everybody who is watching here on Buffalo Plus and the YouTube page. We will be on it. We will be updating things. Also follow all of us on Twitter. Real difficult to follow. It's Mike Catalana, Jenna Cottrell, Dan Fates. Just put the two names together. That's what you've got. You can follow us on Twitter, and we will be following everything going on with the Bills and the NFL. For Dan and Jenna, I'm Mike. Thanks for watching.